So in this part, we are going to learn how to use Python with the Raspberry Pi. Recently, we've seen how to install the PiOS operating system using the Raspberry Pi imager and how to control it remotely by using the command line like CMD on Windows. We're going to learn Python together and the basics of this programming language. We're going to use it with our Pi in our next projects. For example, we can control the GPIO pins using Python. So first you need to have Python installed on your machine. Luckily, when we have added the PiOS operating system to the Pi, it is installed by default. We can control the Pi using the command prompt from our computer through SSH. Then the name, I have set it to Shaker. Next we add @ and the host name, which is Raspberry Pi. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure to check out my second episode. We've seen how to control the Pi remotely using the command prompt. If I hit enter, we're gonna pass in the password. I'm gonna put my own, and if you hit enter, you will be able to control the operating system from here. For example, we can check the documents or the files in our current directory. We have the desktop, documents, downloads. pwd shows you the current working directory, which is /home/the username. In my case, it is Checker. To be able to write some Python code, we can use Python, and we will be able to write the code from here. For example, we have the print command that allows you to show a text or a message like hello from Pi, and that displays the message that you pass in. But we want to write a complete file that contains the code, and we can test it visually. To do so, we can use the VNC viewer that allows you to see the operating system and navigate through the files. We can create a Python code using the Thony IDE that is installed by default. To do that, I'm going to exit using the exit command, and we need to get the IP address of the Pi by writing sudo ifconfig, and under WLAN, we have the IP address. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to open up the VNC viewer application. It's free, we can use it, and we can pass in the IP address. Once you hit enter, you will be able to see the operating system. For example, we can go under the Pi logo. We have programming. By default, we have the Thony IDE that allows you to write the Python code. Let's open it up. In this video, we're going to talk about the basics. We've already talked about the print command that allows you to print something. We can use it for debugging. Here we can pass in a message, and it's going to be displayed under the shell like hi, my name is Shaker, and we can test it by hitting the run button. And there you go, we have the output of the program. Hello or hi, my name is Shaker. Now let's learn more about the basics of Python. If you have already used another programming language, we have something that is really important, which is called variables. It's a way that allows you to store some values, which could be numbers. It could be a text like a message, hi, my name is Shaker. And to declare a variable in Python, we simply give it a name, like name. Then we use the equal sign, and we can set it to a value like John, and it's going to be stored under the memory of the Raspberry Pi. We use variables to make the programming a bit easier and easy to read. For example, if we write print and the name of the variable, which is called name, it's going to print the value that this variable has, which is John. This is called a string. We have different data types. For example, we can put a number like age, and let's set it to 29. This is called an integer. If you add 0.5, which is a floating point number, for now I'm going to use the integer 29. Also, we have a third data type, which is called Boolean, that could be true or false. Later on, when we start controlling an LED, we can declare a variable to check for the state. We can call it isOn, and we can set it to false by default, which means the LED is off by default. And this type is called Boolean. It has two values, false or true. And for each data type, we have some functions or methods that we can use. For example, let's start with the strings. We can use name.upper, which shows the name in uppercase. And yeah, we have John. Also, we have lower to see it in lowercase. And this is called method. Also, we have functions. First, you have to write its name. For example, we have the lamp function that takes in the name parameter or variable, and it's going to return the length of the name. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 characters. This outputs the number of the characters that we have. And yeah, we have 4. The same thing applies for the other data types like integers. For example, let's declare two values. I'm going to declare a variable and call it number1 or num1 and set it to 2. I'm going to create another one, number2 is equal to 5. We can sum these, number1 plus number2, and it's going to work. 7. We can use number1 or number2 times number1. We have 10. But if you add times 2 times, it's going to be the power. So 5 to the power of 2 is 25. Yeah. And if we have a floating point number, we have more functions that we can use. For example, let's use 5.3. We can round this number using the round command by writing its name, round, and pass in the variable, which is number2. So here we're going to get 5. We have ABS for the absolute value, and so many functions that are related to numbers or floating point numbers. For the booleans, we have not that allows you to reverse the boolean value. So the not of is on is going to be a true. Yeah, we're going to talk more about these data types later on when we start creating more projects. For now, let's stick with these 3 types or 4. We have strings, integers, floats, and booleans. Before I finish this video, I want to talk about 2 more things that are really important in programming. The first one is called conditions. Sometimes we need to check for a condition under our code. For example, if the temperature is too high, we can turn on the fan, or if it's too low, we turn it off. Let's take an example. I'm going to declare a variable and call it temp for temperature. I'm going to set it to 40 degrees. And we want to check if the temperature is greater than a value like 37. We turn on the fan. To do that, we add if. So this is a keyword, and you see that its color is purple. So if the temperature temp is greater than 37 Celsius, in such case, we want to turn on the fan. We add colon, then enter, and all of the code that you write under here, after these 4 spaces, is going to be called when the temperature is greater than 37. I'm going to print fan is on, or turn on the fan. We're not controlling the GPIO pins yet, but we're going to do that later on. So if we test this, it's going to check if the temperature, which is 40, is greater than 37, which is the case. So it's going to print fan is on. And that's what we see here. For example, if we set this to 35 Celsius, our code is going to check if the temperature is greater than 37, which is not the case. So it's not going to print fan is on. And yeah, but in some cases, we need to check for more than one condition. For example, we can add else. If this condition is true, this code is going to be running. Otherwise, we're going to run this second code after these spaces. For example, I'm going to print fan is off. And now the code will check for these 2 options. We have fan is off. And if the temperature is 40, the code shows fan is on. And if we have more than 3 conditions, we can use the if-else, but in Python we use elif. We can add another condition like temperature is greater than 35. In such case, we turn off the fan. So this is going to check if it's greater than 37. It's going to run this code. Otherwise, which means it is less or equal to 37, It's going to check for the second condition, which is temp is greater than 35, which means that the temperature is between 35 and 37. We're going to turn off the fan, and we can add else, which means that the temperature is less than 35. In that case, we can turn on the heater using print heater is on, and don't forget the quotes because it's a string. So now we have two devices, a heater and a fan. If the temperature is greater than 37, we're going to turn on the fan and turn the heater off, of course, by writing print heater is off. And if it's between 35 and 37, we're going to turn off the fan and the heater. Otherwise, which means the temperature is less than 35, we can turn on the heater and turn off the fan. That makes sense. We can set this temperature using a temperature sensor that we can attach to the Pi. Then it's going to check if it's greater than 37, which is the case. We have fan on and heater off. That's what we want. If it's between 37 and 35, for example 36, it's going to run this code. Fan is off and the heater is off. And if it's too cold, like 20 Celsius, we have the heater on and the fan is off. Last but not least, I want to talk about the loops. Let's get rid of all of this. So we use loops to repeat something a number of times, and this number could be fixed, like 10 times, or we don't know it. We have the for loop that allows you to call something or to run a code a specific number of times, like 10 times. And to write a for loop, we use the for keyword. Then we add a counter, which is actually a variable. I'm going to call it I. So for I in range, this is a keyword that you have to write it like this. But the variable, we can change it to whatever we want. And let's try to print the numbers from 1 to 10. To do that, we pass in the first value, which is 1, to 10. Then we add colon. And if you hit enter, we have these 4 spaces. So all of the code that we write under here is going to be called 10 times. Actually, it's not 10. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to print the I value. Let's try it. So the I variable is going to take the value 1, then it's going to print 1. Next, it's going to go to 2, 3, 4, but it's not going to reach 10. So the last number is not included. If we want to go from 1 to 10, we have to add 1 to the last value. You have to put 11. And now we have the values from 1 to 10. And that's how the for loop works. Now I'm going to talk about the second kind of loop, which is called the while loop. This is going to be called, and we don't know when it ends. We add while. So while the condition that we write here is true, the code is going to be running. But here we need a condition. For example, let's add a variable counter is equal to 10. And we can write while the counter variable or value is greater than 2 or 1. Then we add colon and we write the code. For example, we can print the counter. At the beginning, we have counter equals 10. And the while loop is going to check counter is greater than 1, which is true. In such case, it's going to run this code. So it's going to print the value 10. Then it's going to check again. The counter is greater than 1. Yeah. So this is not going to stop. So it's going to be running over and over again without stopping, because this condition is always true. Let's give it a try. And yeah, the code is running. To stop it, we can use this button. Normally, we don't use the while loop like this, but we're going to use it later on with the Raspberry Pi, because we want our Pi to check for the values over and over again without stopping. But under our main code or functionality, this condition is going to go from true to false at some point. And I'm going to use counter equals the previous value, counter, and we can subtract 1 from the counter each time. So first it's going to be 10 is greater than 1. It's going to print 10. Then the counter takes the value 10 minus 1, which means 9. Then it's going to check 9 is greater than 1. So this is going to be called 10 times, I guess. And yeah, for the last value, the counter is going to be 2 minus 1, which means 1. Then the loop is going to check 1 is greater than 1, which is false, because 1 is actually equals 1. That's why this condition is going to be false, and we're going to exit out of the loop. Finally, I want to talk about inputs. We use print to print something under the shell so that we can see some results. But sometimes we need to take values from the user. For example, we can tell it whether we want to turn on the LED on or off. And the command that is responsible for that is called input, and put it inside a variable that we can call name equals, and we use input. So this is going to wait until you put something using the keyboard. Once you hit enter, the value that you put is going to be assigned to this variable name, and then we can use it in our code. Let's give it a try. You see that the code is going to wait for the user to write something like Shaker, which is my name. And if I hit enter, this name is assigned to the name variable. Optionally, we can enter a message. For example, I'm going to write, what's your name? And now it's better. We have the message, what's your name? And we can put a name like John. And yeah, it is assigned to the name variable. In our next video, we're going to control the GPIO pins. I hope you liked the episode, and I will see you in the next one.